do you know which are the most important white wine grapes that we find around the world? We think that they are Chardonnay, Riesling, Sauvignon Blanc, and Pinot Gris. Today, we're going to learn a little bit about each of them. And make sure to stick around to the end because we have two honorable mentions that we just had to talk about today. Hi there, I'm Jacqueline, and welcome to Our Glass of Wine. All right, so today we are going to talk about each of the aforementioned varieties. However, we're just going to skim the surface. We're going to get to know them a little bit. I'm not going to go too in-depth into each one because that is going to be a future series of videos with one video per variety. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified and stay up to date when those series and content starts to get released. One last thing before we dive in. While sometimes you will see wines labeled with their variety on the label, so Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc, in New World countries, this is common. However, there are a lot of Old World countries like in France and Italy where it is not too common to put the variety on the label, but rather you might see geographical indicators or place names. For these, you just kind of have to know what the grape behind it is going to be. But don't worry, there will be a future video on some of the most famous place-named wines to help you learn those as well. All right, so let's get started with grape number 1, Chardonnay. Now, when we talk about a white wine grape, most people will immediately think of Chardonnay. After all, it is one of the most popular and widely grown white grape varieties in the world. But why is that? That's because it's actually a pretty easy to cultivate variety. It grows pretty much anywhere, climate, soil, you name it, Chardonnay will grow and be very productive. As well, just like it's adaptable in the vineyard, it is versatile in the winery. It's a fairly neutral grape, which means winemakers can have a great base to work off of and create their own personal style via winemaking techniques. So that means we might see a light and fresh unoaked Chardonnay, but it's just as common to find one that is also oaked and full-bodied and rich and buttery. As well, we can find it in some of the best sparkling wines in the world. For example, it's one of the 3 grapes that is used to make champagne. So this flexibility and this adaptability means that it's easy to grow and beloved by many all over the world. However, we will say some of the best, most famous examples you can find coming from France and really the United States too. And for variety number 2, Riesling. Riesling is considered an aromatic variety, meaning that it has a lot of strong and distinctive characteristics on both the nose and the palate. But perhaps what it's the most famous for is its high acidity. It's a very acidic grape. We will see a lot of fruity and floral aromas as well, like apples, pears, citruses, and jasmine blossoms. But perhaps one of the most distinctive aromas that Riesling can produce is that of petrol or gasoline or kind of a rubbery smell. This is particularly true of aged Rieslings, and it's something really fun to discover. With its high acidity, Riesling actually is a super versatile grape, meaning it can do just about any style. You name it, Riesling does it. Dry, still, sparkling, sweet, Riesling has got it covered. And nowhere is more true of that than in Germany, where perhaps some of the best Rieslings in the world can be found. It is true, there are great Rieslings to be found in France and some up-and-coming ones from Australia that are new on the scene. Number 3, Sauvignon Blanc. Another aromatic grape variety. Sauvignon Blanc's main characteristic is its herbaceousness. It can have these fabulous flavors of grassy, herbal notes like tomato leaf or green bell pepper, or even boxwood plants, which kind of smell a bit like cat pee. On the fruit side of things, a well-made Sauvignon Blanc will get amazing aromas and flavors of passion fruit as well. Because of all these more delicate aromas that we get with Sauvignon Blanc, it's more common to see it not aged in oak. That doesn't mean it's not done, we just see more stainless steel aging in Sauvignon Blancs. The birthplace of Sauvignon Blanc is in France, which is still one of the main growing areas for Sauvignon Blanc. However, New Zealand is getting quite the reputation for some really amazing Sauvignon Blancs too. And number 4, Pinot Gris. Heading back into the non-aromatic side of white wine grapes, Pinot Gris gives us a really fun, zesty options with lots of aromas of stone fruit, peaches, but some lemon lime twists in there too. Like Sauvignon Blanc, oak maturation is not super common with Pinot Gris. You may also recognize Pinot Gris from Italy as being called Pinot Grigio. This is because there's actually a very large quantity of Pinot Grigio made in the northeastern corner of the country, around the Veneto region. Now, I will say, while there are some fabulous Pinot Grigios made, in general, the Veneto basic Pinot Grigio is not known for quality, as it's known for its quantity bulk status. When we look over in France at Pinot Gris, or in Germany, where it's called Grauburgunder, we actually can see some amazing examples of what this grape is capable of. All right, so those were our top 4 main varieties that every wine lover should know to build your foundation of white wines. However, there are 2 grapes out there that I absolutely adore and think absolutely have to be on this list. So, without further ado, here are our honorable mentions. Muscat. Another aromatic variety. Muscat is famous for accentuated citrus fruit aromas like sweet Meyer lemons and sweet oranges, and really floral, accentuated floral notes like honeysuckle and orange blossoms. It's a very distinctive nose that once you smell it, you never forget Moscato. It's very versatile as well. It can be vinified in lots of different ways, from dry to still, sparkling to sweet. But perhaps the most famous of these is from Piedmont. That is the Moscato d'Asti, or Asti DOCG. Moscato d'Asti is a quintessential sweet sparkling wine. At a fairly low alcohol of only around 4 to 5%, it's light, sweet, and bubbly. It's perfect for toast, celebration, and with dessert. And our last grape is Gewürztraminer. Similar to Muscat, Gewürztraminer is an aromatic variety with lots of beautiful aromas of lychee, roses, and even some peaches and stone fruits. But because Gewürztraminer has a really high sugar content and really low acidity, it actually will create a wine that is super full-bodied and even almost oily at times. It gives beautiful, deep-colored wines with a really round mouthfeel to them. Our biggest producers of Gewürztraminer we're going to find in France and Italy, although there are some stellar examples coming out of Germany and Austria too. All right, and there are our 4 varieties plus 2 honorable mentions. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like below and comment with what is your favorite white wine grape that you enjoy. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because there's lots more wine education content coming along, as well as a few more videos on white wines and white grapes, as I promised earlier. So in the meantime, while that's coming out, I'm going to point you to this video right here for you to learn a little bit more about wine. I'll see you over there. Bye.